Hi, we're on day 17 from our pictures of the Passover. And today, by coincidence, is the first day of Passover. And the particular element that we're going to talk about actually has the same name. In Hebrew, the name of the holiday is Pesach. And the lamb itself has the name Pesach as well. And the lamb is represented solely by the shank bone of a lamb today on the Passover Seder plate. And the reason for that is because there's no longer a temple. When the temple was standing, Israel was required, all the Jewish people were required to bring the lamb to the temple at Jerusalem at Passover, and it would be sacrificed, and then they would take it home and eat it. And there's no longer a temple, there's no longer a sacrifice. So today, the lamb is only represented by the shank bone, but it's required, it's essential, and it's foundational. It is the heart and soul of the holiday, that lamb that was sacrificed for the life of the firstborn. This was the 10th plague that came upon Egypt. The only way to be saved from this plague was to take the blood of that perfect, spotless lamb. Think about this picture. If you look at Exodus chapter 12, God said, on the 10th day of the month, I want you to take a lamb, and I want you to take the time over those days to examine it. And then on the 14th day at sunset, you need to take that lamb and you need to kill it. Take the blood, put it on the top and on the sides of the doorpost of the home. Just think of that picture. There's no tabernacle, there's no temple, there's just all these Jewish homes in the land of Goshen in Egypt at the same time killing these lambs, putting that blood on the doorpost. I want to sort of relate this to what we're going through now. And I want you to understand that there was a lot of things probably going on in the minds of people in Israel at that point. They knew that this plague, this death of the firstborn, was coming. They had a couple of choices at that point. First, they could have said, well, I don't believe that the plague is coming. Well, they had experienced the 9 plagues before. They had seen that God had sent these plagues, and when God said that there was going to be a 10th, that was probably a good clue. But then there were some who might say, well, I don't see the correlation between killing a lamb and putting the blood on the doorpost and how that's going to save the life of my firstborn. And because I don't see that correlation, I'm not sure that I want to do that. Well, if someone had that line of thinking and didn't put the blood on the doorpost, then their firstborn would die. Then there are those who said, well, I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm terrified and fearful, and I'm not even sure if it's going to work, but I'm going to do it just in case. And they probably were in terror all throughout that night, not knowing what was going to happen, afraid of what might take place. But in the morning, when they woke up, they saw that their firstborn was still alive. And then there were those who had confidence in what God had said, because God had spoken already through Moses, and what had been said had come to pass. And so they had confidence that in doing this, their firstborn was going to live, and they were probably able to sleep in peace. We are in a place now where we have a plague, and it's not the same. It's not the same, because God promised that he was going to send this plague. He sent it for a specific purpose, and he gave a specific answer on how to deal with it. We're not in that situation now. However, God tells us that we are in a world where things are not going to go the way that we want them to go. Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to make a wrong turn. Things are not going to follow the script that we set out for it. The question is, how are we going to live in light of that? We need to put our faith and trust in God. I remember when one of my children were young, they were going through a difficult time, and I said, you should pray. And they said, what's that going to do? And some of you might be responding the same way. Well, I want to tell you that God has proved himself faithful. Put your faith and trust in him, and you'll be able to sleep in peace through this time of trial and difficulty. We're going to talk some more about this tomorrow. Have a good day.